Wikipedia is one of the most important websites in the world. In May 2020, it was read 25 billion times. It really is a global resource. Its content is available in 300 languages, and the English Wikipedia is the largest of those. That's what I'll be talking about mostly in this short video. It has 6 million articles in English alone, and of those, 1.7 million are biographies. Now, within this set, there are significant imbalances. Significantly, 18.5% are about women. Looking back at how things stood at the start of 2017, this was as low as 16.8%. Now, that's not good enough, really. Increasing it to 18.5% has been a pretty good effort. And there are going to be all sorts of contributing factors to why this figure is so low. That can be historical imbalances, present day imbalances, issues with the source material and what people write about, and also the editing community. So a 2011 survey showed that just 8% of Wikipedia's writers were women. And that aspect of the gender gap, both its writers and the content on Wikipedia, is something the community has been very aware of over the years and have actively tried to address. So how does this look for classicists? Well, at the start of 2017, there were 681 biographies of classicists on the English Wikipedia. Just 36 of these were about women. That's a woeful 5%. 5% almost makes it sound better than 36 biographies. However, the English Wikipedia wasn't exceptional in this. German, French, and Spanish were all around this same 5%-ish mark. Fortunately, January 2017 is also when the Women's Classical Committee held their first regular editing meeting. They'd had some events before then to address the gender gap, but from then on, there was a monthly meeting in which people were getting together and improving Wikipedia's content. And they've travelled a long way since then. So if we fast forward to the 13th of July 2020, things are looking a lot better. So there are now nearly 2,500 biographies of classicists on the English Wikipedia, which is an enormous expansion, more than threefold. And if we look at the biographies of women, it's increased more than 10 times. So it's 417 biographies of female classicists on Wikipedia. That's still only 17%, so it's behind the 18.5% for English Wikipedia as a whole. But it's improved a lot for this particular subject. In fact, if we look at new articles created since the start of 2019, 40% of those biographies, restricted to just classicists, have been about women. So that is directly a result of the work of the Women's Classical Committee. They have improved and created hundreds of pages about female classicists. And so it can sometimes be tricky to keep track of which articles have been edited, just because there are so many. And at the same time, there are other Wikipedians who are editing their areas and what they're interested in. And so there have been hundreds of other biographies coming through, largely about men. And we can see a similar-ish pattern if we look at other Wikipedias. And the gender representation has improved, but the contribution of the Women's Classical Committee is really stark. So, English Wikipedia leads the way at 17%. Its closest rival is Arabic Wikipedia, with 14.3%. It has about 500 biographies of classicists. If we look at Wikipedia with more than 1,000 biographies, so German and French, then they hover around 10%. And that's without the intervention of the Women's Classical Committee. So their contribution is really easy to demonstrate. And it shows that the work has been really transformative. Women classicists on Wikipedia are now much better represented. So I'm looking forward to seeing that percentage climb ever higher over the coming years. And well done everyone involved.